Hello there and welcome back to the Chap's Guide. Now today you join me for something slightly outside the ordinary. In the past we've talked about men's grooming, shaving, men's style in general, and also things like self-development tips. But one of the things I'm very conscious that a chap needs to have is the ability to look after himself and to cook and do all of those things which are part of ordinary life, but with a bit of flair and a bit of panache. That's what makes you a bit chap while everybody else is not. Well, today I'd like to talk to you about one of the recipes which is a must-know for people if you live alone or if you live in a family, because there'll be that occasion where you have friends over and you want to cook for them and you want something simple and easy. Or if you're doing a Sunday dinner and you want to give your friend's family or whatever a special treat, an excellent recipe is slow-cooked chicken. Now, chicken is a really good idea because you can flavour it in any way you wish, which allows you to add those nuances and a little bit extra to it. So today I'm going to show you how I slow cook a chicken. It's the easiest recipe in the world. You simply prepare it, you put it into that slow cooker, and 8 hours later you pull it out and you have a fantastic dish which will be more than adequate to be the star of any table which you are entertaining at. So let's get over to the table. I'll show you the component parts, I'll show you the cooking process, and we'll be on our way. Well, before we slow cook our chicken, the first thing we need to do is prepare a rub which will be flavoursome and add a lot more depth just to the taste of that chicken. So we start off, simple bowl, and in that bowl I'm going to add some paprika, which will be a nice addition of colour as well as some lovely flavour. Alongside that paprika, I'm just going to add some black pepper, which has been crushed, as you can see. Nice simple depth of flavour, a little bit of heat to add to it. I'm going to add some garlic granules and also some salt as well, with a little bit more pepper. That's just a steak rub, really, a generic steak rub that I found, but I like the addition of the garlic and the salt in there as well. Just adds more layers of flavour to the chicken. And finally, because it's the springtime and I'm cooking in the garden today, as it appears, I've gone into the herbaceous border and I've come across some beautiful, lovely fresh rosemary, which I've just taken off the stem and I've bruised up and cut it into smaller chunks with a knife, and there we go. So we've added that all together into our rub. We're just going to mix that all up, and then it's time to introduce it to our good friend the chicken. But before we get to that, I'd just like to invite you to subscribe to us here at the Chap's Guide, and don't forget to give us a thumbs up at the end as well if you'd enjoyed this video. By subscribing, you're supporting the channel, but also you won't miss any of the future material that we produce. So please click that button now. Righty-ho, let's get cooking. So this is just a standard slow cooker and nothing more than that. So we'll pop that open and we will introduce our chicken to the pot. So this is just a normal standard chicken, standard sized chicken, no more than that, ready to go, and comfortably fits inside the pot without having to squeeze it in, which is always a bit of luck. Now, in order to get that chicken going, all I'm going to do to add the flavours and to make sure the flavours adhere to the chicken and the skin of the chicken, I'm just introducing some oil. Now in this instance, I've got some rapeseed oil, some cold pressed virgin rapeseed oil here. You could use any oil that you have in your kitchen, olive oil being, very common. But for me, I like rapeseed oil for a number of reasons. Most often, the health reasons and things like that. So make sure that the chicken is fully coated with the oil, because we're about to put the rub on there, and obviously the rub will stick to wherever the oil is on the chicken, which makes life a lot easier for us. So now we're going to reach over and get our rub. I've just swizzed the rub together so that it's all sort of mixed up, and we're just going to introduce that rub to the chicken, getting it all over it. Of course, most of it on the breast part, because we know that's going to do most of the work for us. So whilst we're here, we can make sure that's rubbed in, get it all massaged into the chicken. Now, this rub is going to impart these flavours that we've introduced to the chicken throughout the chicken during the cooking process. So those lovely peppers to add heat, the rosemary to add that sort of aromatic floral essence, and you know, the garlic and the salt, you know, adding what they always do to the recipe. Now alongside that, just to add a bit of moisture and also a bit of flavour, I'm just adding, I've got a normal brown onion which I've quartered, and I'm just going to introduce that in with the chicken, just like that, just so that it helps with the cooking process. And now pop the lid on and we're ready to cook. Is there anything easier? Now what you must remember, it depends on the amount of time that you've got to cook here, the amount of time that you're going to cook it for. So you can, most slow cookers have two settings, high and low. If you want to cook this in about 4 hours, you could set it on the high setting, and that would be more than adequate to cook it in the time you have. But as is often the case with slow cooking, the longer the better. So if you can cook it on low for 8 hours, the better results await you at the end of that. So I'm going to cook this on low for 8 hours, and we'll come back and see what we have at the end of that. So I'll see you in 8 hours for the grand reveal. Well folks, welcome back to the end of the day. So our chicken here has now been cooking for 8 hours or so, and it's been on the low setting, slowly cooking away. So let's have a look what we've been left with. Take off the lid and whoa, straight away I'm hit by the aromatic odours of the rub that we put on the chicken, and I can see without a doubt that it is absolutely cooked, because let's have a look, it started to break apart as you can see there, and it's cooked wonderfully. Now if you want to really check, you can insert a probe thermometer into your chicken to check that it's achieved the correct temperature inside, and the sort of result you would need to see or want to see to assure you that it's fully cooked would be around about 164, 165 degrees Fahrenheit, and that would be about 74, 75 degrees Celsius. That would let you know that the chicken is fully cooked throughout. But I can tell just by looking at this wonderful chicken. I'm just going to put my fork into it, and you can see, there we go, look at that beautiful white meat, and it is just breaking apart. And of course it's now sitting in this wonderful stock. That's the flavours which have been, and the juices which have been released by the chicken during the cooking process, and you can see those bits of onion now which have, you know, look wonderful. They can be included in the meal as well. So there we are. That's it. That's our slow cooked chicken. Something which is well worth having in your cooking repertoire for those occasions when you have friends, family, boss, neighbours, whoever around for a meal, and you want to cook them something that everybody's going to like, that wonderfully, delicately flavoured chicken, depending on what rubs you put on it. Today you saw me putting paprika and pepper and things like that. Of course you can, you know, you can add whatever flavours you want to your rub to your chicken, and you get this wonderful fragrance hitting me now, which is just pure joy for food. So there we go. Simple as that. Time to put it on the plate. Well, that was it. That was slow cooked chicken. Is there anything easier, more impressive, or hearty to eat that you can throw together in just a few minutes? All you need is that slow cooker, a chicken, a few little bits of flavouring, and there you go. It's done. It's the easiest meal that you'll impress your friends with at any time. Or if you've got the boss coming over, or inviting some new friends, or somebody you recently met, perhaps it'll be that first impression that you leave them with, that you're a competent and capable cook who can provide a hearty fare for anybody who comes to your home. So a good skill to have. I hope you've enjoyed it today. If you have, don't forget, subscribe, thumbs up, and we look forward to seeing you again soon at the Chap's Guide, where we may be talking about men's grooming, we may be talking about sharing, self-development tips, or anything which will improve your journey to being the best chap that you can be. Until then, take care, and we look forward to seeing you again here at the Chap's Guide very soon.